Okay, here we are. So welcome everyone. This is the webinar series Ask Me Anything, where the topic group Entrepreneurship from euRobotics Forum. As a group, we are trying to bring in successful entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs to share their journey with enthusiastic young entrepreneurs in their journey at the beginning stages, or if they have any burning questions that they can learn from the experience of the other successful entrepreneurs. So just to introduce a little bit about the euRobotics and what we do in the various topic groups, especially the entrepreneurship topic group, which is organizing this series, a webinar series. euRobotics is a forum at the European level where we bring together robotics community within Europe, especially both the academia and the industry come together. And there is a flagship event for the euRobotics Forum every year, which is ERF conference that happens at different places within Europe. And this year it is happening in Odense in March, and we are all looking forward to attending the ERF conference in Odense. If any of you are attending, it will be lovely to catch up with you there as well. So there are various topic groups within euRobotics that work and actively work on different areas of robotics, for example, industrial robotics, healthcare, sustainability, laboratory automation, etc., etc. So one such topic group is Entrepreneurship topic group within euRobotics, and via Entrepreneurship topic group, we are promoting and encouraging the entrepreneurship and values that come from entrepreneurship within robotics community. So as part of the topic group, we keep meeting once every month. Oliver, Trolls Oliver is the topic group organizer, myself, Francesca, and there are a few other members who are part of the topic group. And this initiative of the webinar series, Ask Me Anything, as I explained, is to bring in successful entrepreneurs to share their journey and ask and answer any questions from budding entrepreneurs with facing challenges, especially with background in robotics. So with that said, I'll pass it on to Elisabeth. And just to introduce about the background, Elisabeth is currently working with a German-based AI startup company called Up2 Parts. It's an SME. And she has got rich experience and background in robotics and in entrepreneurship for more than 13 years. So while entrepreneurship is one thing, entrepreneurship is something which hasn't been recognized as well as entrepreneurship, and the challenges that entrepreneurs face are similar, and in some cases somewhat different as well. So Elisabeth has got a background in mechanical engineering, and she has done an executive MBA. So let's listen to Elisabeth's journey in the entrepreneurship. So off to you, Elisabeth.
Thank you, Radhika, for your nice introduction. Hello from my side. As Radhika already said, my name is Elisabeth Schärtl. You made who I am very perfectly in short moments. I just want to spring back. Maybe I'm, as Radhika said, now working in a startup right now, but I was starting in a big company, my career. So maybe short about who I am. I was born in Upper Palatinate. When somebody doesn't know this area, this is normal. It's in northern Bavaria, so in Germany, so close to the Czech Republic border. Right now, I have two boys. I'm 41 years old, and I'm back in Upper Palatinate now again after 20 years. But after my graduation from school, I went to the Technical University to Munich, made there as Radhika said, I studied mechanical engineering and did my classic Diplom Ingenieur. It isn't existing anymore in German, but I had one of the last ones. And then I had the chance to start within KUKA in Augsburg. So everybody, I think, knows in the robotic community what KUKA is doing. KUKA is making robots, but also KUKA is making automation. And there I started. So I was in the branch where they do the automation lines for cars, but also automation lines for special machinings, like solar module production. And there I had the chance to set up this branch, this business unit, to restructure this business unit, and had then the possibility. So I was a classic intrapreneur. Afterwards, I joined then the CTO of KUKA in the AG, in the holding, and did their technology scouting and taking care about production of the future, digitalization and automation. And there I realized that startups or small companies often have the ability to be faster, to be more creative, and to, how should I say, to realize in some case, I will say, and come later on, easier some visions and ideas. And I met there now my current boss, Marco Bauer, who was in this time, had a classic chop shop in Upper Palatinate in Bavaria. They were producing parts, milling and turning parts for other customers. And he had this vision of Industry 4.0, because these business, although there are some robots in who loading machines and unloading machines, they are in a level of digitalization and automation in a very, very, very low level. And he had this vision to say, hey, why can we fasten these processes by analyzing the parts which they have to produce? Because to give you an overview how this branch is working, normally you get a 3D CAD file where there are general geometric information, and then you get a 2D PDF file with all other processing information. Somebody is doing the calculation. Normally they get 50 parts with one requirement, so it took for them 3 days. When the order comes, the operator on the machine or the programmer on the machine who's doing the program, how the machine is producing this part, has to redo the 3D CAD file, give all the information in that he can program the machine and process it. And the idea of OptoParts is based on AI algorithm and machine learning algorithms, analyzing the 3D CAD file, give there the information from the 2D PDF file to it, and process this automatically from the very beginning to the very end. Just a short overview what we are doing within OptoParts. And I was fascinated about this idea that I joined Marco almost 3.5 years ago, back home, but also back into a new startup. We had the chance, and first it was the mother company, the BAM is a classic SME. Normally a classic SME can't afford a software development unit. So OptoParts started as a software development unit within this job shop, but looking for investors, we had also the luck and the chance to have a cooperate with the biggest machine tool manufacturer in the world. So, and we there set then up our startup OptoParts as an own company, as a sister company of the classic job shopper. First, we thought, okay, we don't want to do this, but based on this, that our investor said, it's a pity I can't invest in a job shop when my other customers are job shoppers. So we funded then OptoParts in end of 2019 with a strategic investor. We have one one finance investor also joining us, but he is not a classic VC. He's also like a strategic regional finance investor. And now we are developing these algorithms, these machine learning AI algorithms to digitalize the classic job shoppers from the beginning of quotation till to the end, till the programming. So this is the roughly way I went. And as Radhika said, I have seen my now 16 years of job experience, both sides. I had the chance within KUKA, as I said, as working as intrapreneur, which makes it in the first step easier as an entrepreneur because you're not taking care about the monthly salaries of your people because there's a big company behind who is paying for it. You don't have to take care about all these financing rounds because you just have to brief your general manager that your idea is good. So this makes, in this case, really life easier. But nevertheless, is you have the same challenges to see, okay, you have an idea and a plan, how to set up your business. I started with my business unit. It was this time in 2008 where the photovoltaic industry within Europe was really growing tremendously. So, and we started, hey, we can do automation, so we can also in automotive, so we can do automation in solar industry. No, it's a different industry. And of course, with robotics, you can do a lot of things, but you also have to take care and see the possibilities you have. Especially KUKA did in this time 6-axis robots. So let's say they are highly flexible, but sometimes slower than solar industry needs. So we have first had to look which area of solar industry is interesting for us. And there we realized the final assembly. So where the cells already processed. So this final assembly, we started to automate. We made there a very good progress in business, but outer conditions like we had last year's and many startups struggle also there came that China took over the solar business, and in Europe it was not anymore, even with automation, reliable to produce solar modules. So I stand there as with the business unit and said, okay, we don't get our revenues, we won't get our profit. So what can we do from this? What we have on knowledge? We set up, of course, the automation and robotics knowledge from automotive. We had already the process knowledge, handling fragile things, handling wobbly things. We had also this knowledge about how to orchestrate the process, optimize through it, where are possibilities to use this knowledge in other areas. And so I had, yes, the pain, but also the chance to restructure this complete business unit into the business unit energy and bring this on a level to make battery and battery into the battery field, and also in some kind of glass handling field. This and this was my biggest experience in there is, or where I had this first, was when the pain is you get creative and you find new ways and you get innovative. So and I think this is what I also brought into now, where I work now in this startup in Up to Parts and support my entrepreneur, my funder, my boss, is that you have a good idea, but you have to be flexible to reinterpret this idea, because we also had this already in Up to Parts in the first 3.5 years what we made. We started, as I said, as a department within the job shopper, and we thought we program a digital portal for the job shopper where he gets the orders via I load 3D CAD file up in the internet. It goes automatically to the job shopper and he gets the order, and you can order it like you can order a book in Amazon. And yes, we started with this platform. The colleagues were totally happy when it started in April 2019. They got online and everybody was sitting in front of the computer and was waiting to get the first order. And nothing happened. And the other day also nothing happened. After a week, there came the first order, but afterwards we realized that a friend of our boss, he sent this order because Marco told him, can you please make an order? And then we all realized that this branch, this business, is not yet open to order parts, milled and turned parts via internet. So, and then we started to talk to the people, to others, not to be BAM, to our job shop, to other people who have a job shop, and to the customers of our job shop. And then we realized they even don't have the processes to be able to order something via the internet, because they have their big ERP systems, because they still need still use fax machines to send the orders, and for this was something completely new. And we thought, okay, first talk to potential customers to get this realization. Even though we thought we already did it, we realized though such a platform area, it's interesting for universities. And then we realized that as well, universities, private people, they now got the chance to get milled and turned parts in an easy way. But nevertheless, the big orders didn't come via this platform. And then also talking with strategic investors, we realized maybe the software behind this platform is more interesting than the platform itself, because the investors, they saw, hey, you have something like a feature recognition, which sees what things are on this part. Is there a pocket on it? Is there a borehole? Hey, that's very interesting. You have this algorithm and this algorithm. And then we realized, hey, maybe these algorithms help the job shops to get faster and better, and not just as a platform. And so we realized that we quite fast, with these algorithms we can quite fast calculate how much this part costs and what the work process plan in the manufacturing field is. So what has to be done first when it goes through the complete manufacturing. And so from our perspective, we set then up our first product, the after parts calculation, which is it seems always very simple, a simple calculation tool where you upload a part and then you get your work plan, how it goes through your production, and you get at the end a price, and you can adjust the price and you can send an offer to the customer. So this was, let's say, this experience we made, that sometimes it's very important to look behind or to step aside and also talk to potential people, potential customer, to people who are not in this field, to get the complete view, and also to stay flexible in changing your, let's say, business model. And I think this is in a progress, and often it happens because you stand in front of a hurdle and you have to go around this hurdle or go over this hurdle. And this is, I think, from my experience, most important. Don't see a hurdle as a pain, see it as a chance to get new ideas. And also from my experience, when you have hurdles, then it is sometimes hard to say this, but it's easier to get the good ideas and the innovations. Yeah, this is roughly from my side, from my experience. Please, when you have any questions in between, interrupt me, because you should ask me. I just talk, but when something's coming up, please interrupt me. what experience did I further made? Okay, I worked within KUKA as, yes, Radhika?
Were you also supposed to share your slides, or are you okay speaking like this?
No, I have some slides, but these slides just show what we're doing within up to parts. And
Okay.
I think I bother you more with these slides because I was thinking I make a nice presentation for you, but then I realized now talking about my experience and getting then the questions from you, I hope it helps us to make start a discussion.
Yeah, that's good. So, I mean, share your experience, and maybe if you leave around 20 minutes for people to ask questions, then yeah.
Up to you, but also within you can ask. Yeah. As I said, within KUKA, I had the chance after that I was an intrapreneur. I could join the CTO team where we were doing technology scouting for KUKA, talking to startups with interesting technologies. So I had the chance to be like a strategic investor. I always say, okay, you have to separate strategic investor versus venture capital. Yes, I also would have a slide there, but I won't share this with you because it's just yeah, you can ask ChatGPT what a VC is or what a strategic investor is. The answers are quite good. I tested it, but there I had the chance to work as a strategic investor, and often it is the advantage of a strategic investor is that they know quite well the business, that they normally are in the top level of the technology leader and they are looking for startups which fits to their business, which comes out of the business. So the chance is very big to have a strategic investor to set there a sustainable relationship, to set up there a sustainable relationship. Also to use as a startup, I see it also within Up to Parts. We have as a cooperation partner DMG Mori, which is one of the biggest in this field of the job shopper, of the tool machine and job shopper. And there we have the experiences, the partly of the sales channels we can use from let's say from the hardware side. What often, and this is also what I see from my experience, is that the challenges of a strategic investor are often these complex structures the companies have. They do have to have this because otherwise in such a size, they won't act efficiently. But when you as a startup with 30, 40 people maximum come up to a big strategic investor with 14,000 people, you're in the first step overwhelmed by these complex structures when you're starting working. But nevertheless, the sustainability is often the most advantage. Also, when you have a strategic investor, of course, he's trying to have more influence into the startup than a classic VC. This is also where you have to be aware and to see there the advantages, but also the challenges about this. And what we also realized, but this is nothing I see as a challenge. It is the sales channels, how to get the sales channels trained for your products. I think this is not a strategic investor or challenge. It's a part. I think a challenge from what you sell. When you sell hardware, it's sometimes easier in the classic mechanical engineering robotics world to use these sales channels. It's easier than selling software. This has nothing to do with the investor strategic. It's a business topic where it's always I will give you to think about how to sell your product and to see what is your customer. And what we realized within Up to Parts selling software in a branch, where they mostly use heavy metal and big machines, it is really challenging because they often don't see in the first step the benefit of a software. But back to the investors, as I said, I worked as a strategic investor. I had there good possibilities, but as a strategic investor, you often have to check fits the startup, fits the vision of the startup, the product of the startup into your company. And so sometimes also the investment discussions take longer than with a VC, where you go to special festivals where you promote, where you do your pitch desk, where you say, okay, when you give me this money, you get this share. You do your seed funding routes. This is quite, it's not easier. But it's a little bit faster than within a, from my experience, I have to say. I tell you just from my experience. But also venture capital can help you to get into new markets because they often have also these specialists who know the markets, who know the business. And what also is an advantage, they don't have these daily influence into the business like a strategic investor is doing. Of course, their focus is another. They are more focused on a profit based, but nevertheless, they also try when you ask to support you in the business. But I have honestly say I don't have this much experience with venture capital because, as I said, in the past I was the strategic investor side, and also within Up to Parts we were focusing more on strategic investor sides based on this complexity in this business. And selling software in such a complex business, it's a little bit more complex, as I say. Yeah. What else? Of course, I'm standing here in front of you, and I'm not the classic entrepreneur, as Radhika already said. Why I'm not an entrepreneur? I think I had never this invention that I can fund my own business. I am somebody more that bring people together. I think this is my strength, to find the correlation and the relations between the things and the people, and create the passion and the vision for new things. And this is something what I often experienced in my when I was working as a strategic investor, that people had a great invention, had a super idea, but never had this ability to have somebody visionary and somebody who's bringing this vision, make the correlation between the invention and the business together. And I think nobody can do this alone. They need, as an inventor, you need somebody who brings the idea together, who have a sparring partner, who talks about it, who brings this out. And in Germany, we always say, nicht nur auch die guten Sachen zeigen. Tue Gutes und sprich darüber. Do something good and talk about it. So not inventing, it's also to talk about and to fascinate the people. You need somebody who is maybe not so deep in the technology like I'm. As I said, I come from robotics. I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm not the software guy, but nevertheless, I work now for an AI company who is doing software development to force them to think outside the box, to think in heavy metal, to bring their ideas, and also to show the people what's going on in here within Up to Parts and which assets we have. So yes.
So, I mean, I can really relate to you being coming from the hardware background, working with people developing the software. So what's the biggest challenge that you find in convincing people or making them look from the hardware perspective, especially the people working in software?
To say yes, for my software colleagues, that everything is it's easy, it works. Of course, the code is running. But I can remember when we brought our first software code to the machine, and then the part within the milling machine were thrown away, and I said, why didn't it work? Everything was right. The understanding in between is the most challenge, but not only the software guys. We have the luck that we have some software guys who made a milling apprenticeship already, so they are trained millers in the very beginning and then shifted to software. But also to get the more challenging is to get the understanding to the people about the software, which are next to the machine, which are selling the machines. This is more challenging because everybody has his iPhone and has some apps on it, and they make a little bit thing and it is working. And they see a nice user interface where they can make some clicks, but they don't understand which effort is behind this software. Because as a classic mechanical engineer, you see all in the machine. You see the machine is this big because of the pumps, because of the gears, because of all the parts which are working in, or the robot itself. But software, you don't see the big back end, the big knowledge behind. And this is more challenging to get the understanding from as hardware guys to the software than vice versa. Because as I said, we have the luck that we have many people which have a background from mechanical engineering. Yes, Franziska?
I think in relation to that, I noted down a question. So what would you recommend other startups that are also selling software to overcome that challenge also, compared to selling hardware that it's so difficult? What would you recommend them?
To explain it in the easiest way you
What's
can.
your trick? Yeah.
That's the first. And what we often do, we compare our software. I already made a comparison with our software with a human brain a little bit, because everybody is thinking, but also what we have right now with our software, comparing it with driving, autonomous driving. Because we have an automation factor in our software to automate these all things, and everybody thinks, yes, it has to start from the very beginning, and why does the software don't work? And a software, especially based on machine learning and AI algorithms, is dependent on the data which comes in. So when you don't have the right data, the software is not working. And this is the most challenging to explain. And we try to explain this always with autonomous driving. So when you have autonomous driving and you have a street with no white stripe on the side, the autonomous driving is not working because it doesn't see anything. So when the data doesn't have the information, or are not standardized and don't have this information for the software, it also can't work in a proper way. And we try to explain what's behind it, that we say, okay, there is a feature where we can realize this and that, but I don't have a golden way how to explain. You have to really try and to stay in front of the people and figure out in the first step what is his background and what understanding does he have from software. Does he only know his iPhone, or does he already know what is C++, Java, Python is? Yes, Imre.
Hello, thank you. I have a question about how do you struggle, or how do you overcome this current situation with the energy crisis? So this affects your clients, your users, everybody who's in this field.
Yeah, and I don't have a perfect solution. How do we overcome? We have the chance to say, okay, you can fasten your process with our product. So this is also to help them to overcome the energy crisis, to get more orders in, and to get their machines better equipped and in a more efficient way. But nevertheless, we all are struggling, also we, because we need a lot of servers, server capacity. We need a lot of energy to program this. And also we are facing this in the challenge and see that, concerning also our business plans, and we have to take care about this. So we try to sell more and bring the effort in, but I don't have not a perfect general solution.
Okay, thank you. You didn't develop a strategy for this kind of with my major.
No, not in the major.
Okay, thank you.
Fotis?
Hi. So,
Hi.
very interesting introduction, and I found the idea of the strategic investor very. Actually, it was the first time I understood what a strategic investor is, because I heard the term but didn't know what they do actually. So I have some questions about this, because I'm part of a small startup. We are still pre-seed stage, pre-revenue stage, but we were looking at the future, and the idea of attracting a strategic investor seems very interesting, because we are developing a software that aims to add versatility to robots using vision and motion generation. And so this software can be a small computer that can be plugged to an existing robot and give this robot new functionalities. So the strategic investor I'm seeing is a robot manufacturer. Okay. So first of all, at what stage of the company should I approach? Because at this point seems don't seem it makes sense. Should I wait to be, let's say, Series A company, having revenues, having global sales network, have a positive revenue streams? What do you think? And also one last question: how should I, if I decide, and when I should decide to approach them, what should I look for? What's the person I should look for? What's the title in his name?
I was there an innovation manager, senior innovation manager. So these are the gentlemen and ladies in the companies, like, have something with innovation, with technology scouting on it. But this is the first answer to your last question. To your first question, when to start, there is no right or no wrong, because it depends really on the company. As I said, we had disruptive parts in a very, very early stage, we would say in a seed stage, already an strategic investor in, but there are also strategic investors out there want to invest in a startup, or can they already an SME and has a positive revenue. So it always really depends on what are you doing and what your strategic investor is. That's the luck there, because some strategic investors say, yes, this idea is very interesting, I want to be very early in it. Others say, no, our strategy is to wait until you have some revenue. So there I just can give you the idea. Go out, for example, at the ERF, talk there to the companies about your idea, go to congresses, talk to the people with these your ideas and with your product. So then you get quite easy and early a feeling which company might be interesting as strategic investor and in which stage.
And usually, what these companies ask for in exchange? Do they ask for equity? Do they ask for a percentage of the revenue?
It's completely different. Of course, the most ask for equity. So how many shares? It then depends on you, what you give. Some companies says we only buy it completely, your technology or your company. So we are bring it home in our company, or we make just 24.9% based that you stay as a small medium company, that you get also can use fundings, and this it really depends. That's the good thing there. You are really open to discuss, because here with a strategic investor, this is maybe also something here more the nose factor, the personal discussion helps better than in a VC. VCs, they have their rules. You know what to do, but with a strategic investor, you have the ability also to define by yourself with him how you want to make your financing your corporation.
Nice. Do I have time for a short question?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, because I was reading in the book that when you're selling the company or part of the company, you're usually selling 3 types, depending on what you can either sell the technology, you can sell the product, or you can sell the business. What does a strategic investor look for?
The strategic.
Do they want the technology or the business or the product?
Mostly they are looking for the technology and the product.
Okay.
Because they see then there an enrichment of their business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, and it depends which average of shares they are holding to implement it or to run it by itself. And this is, yeah, let's say the flexibility of a strategic investor.
Okay, I'm covered. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, Franziska.
Maybe in relation to that, what if the startups don't want to have a strategic investor, but collaborate with big players like KUKA on, well, like we've heard, maybe they deliver a part of it, or maybe a robot arm is part of the solution. How could they get a good package to start up, because they probably don't get the best deals as a startup or something like this? Is there any recommendations that you give startups on how to approach them, how they could get a best deal, or how they can convince bigger players to work with them?
That's a really complex question. How to convince them? I think you have to enrich the people. You have to motivate the people that they are passionate with your products, with your idea, and then and there you have to find the key players which they are impassioned, that they get happy, motivated to see, hey, how can we use this within our company? It is a people business. It is really a people business, because when you have the right people in the strategic investor who is completely says, yes, that's the right way to do, this is the technology we need, I want to cooperate, even if you're as an investor or as a corporate partner, as a supplier, and this, it's a people business.
So it's more about people and technology, instead of convincing them that this will be a good business for them in the future. Even if we only sell 4 products with your product this year, but in 3 or 4 years, you can actually earn a lot with us if you give us a good deal now or collaborate with us.
Yes,
it's not
this
so much
is
that.
Of course, that's the base, that you say, okay, you have the chance to make business out of it. But when you don't convince the other side that they are convinced of the technology, the best business plan doesn't work, because they have to sell it then.
Yeah.
Radhika?
Okay, so a slightly different way of thinking is, I'm an angel investor and keep investing in technology startups mainly. So the the approach that I see from these tech founders is, unless they think in terms of what's the exit strategy for them, they can't approach the next stage to go for the venture capitalist fund, etc. So when it comes to the entrepreneurship side of things, how do you sell this idea to a strategic investor? So what is a vested interest for them in investing in the company?
Of course, the business, to give them the business story is the first step to say, okay, we see with our technology, with our vision, we can change the complete business where you are acting in this area. So we are facing this so-called mega trends, because many big companies are working in the mega trends. What are the mega trends they are facing in future? And investing in a startup often for big companies is to see, of course, the first steps, positive steps, should be within 2 and 3 years, but to see, okay, which mega trends which mega trend helps us, this startup, to realize with our business and to grow our business, because all the big players know that they need some speedboats around them to get into the new direction, because, and this is nothing which is bad, but they are so big, they have an existing structure working very efficient, but changing technologies, changing ways in big company is quite challenging based on the size. So they are often trying to get small speedboats, which gives a new thought into it and which brings their business easier in the right direction, in the new direction. So this is
giving them that turbo boost. Giving them that turbo boost with the speedboat, I guess. So
yes, but a speedboat can't change a big tanker, a big tank ship. It's not possible. But he opens the eyes.
Exactly. So now that you brought up the topic of mega trends, maybe the one of the good tips that startup owners can get from you is, where is it that they can keep track of these mega trends?
Yes.
Where should they follow? What is it that they need to keep their eyes on?
Yeah, definitely. For example, as an example within Up to Parts, where we see our visions going to these mega trends to digitalize and automate these processes in manufacturing. There we are facing the mega trends of lack of people. We already have it in German, but this is a big trend who will go globally. And also, of course, the mega trend of digitalization. It's a mega trend itself, but these are these two mandatory mega trends we are facing for it, because we see as today already that you don't find, or you hardly find, the experts who can do the job which we want to solve with our AI-based software.
Sounds good. Thank you, Elisabeth. Any more questions from the attendees? Go on, Francesca.
I have a last one if no one else has one. Just because I think you described your way as a startup was not straight. It was more like going here and there and going back to the customers, even though you talk to the customers. And that seems like it was quite a bit of trouble also, but probably also really good learning. Would you go that path again, or would you wish to go straight and straight through the easy path? And is there anything you can recommend startups that are starting that path?
Of course, often the easy path looks nicer and preferable, but based on also my biography, I always say that the more I learned, the more curves I had to go on my way, and also with the startup. So if we already would knew in the beginning to go to there that our software is more than just a platform, we wouldn't have developed some things not in this way. And I often compare it with my, let's say, with my educational way. There I went the straight way, but I had to learn a lot in daily life then, because I didn't get the curves in the educational way. So often it seems it's nice and easier way, but don't avoid to make curves. Don't avoid to change your mind, because at the end you're more experienced, to have more knowledge in it than you had before.
Thanks. That's a nice closing statement, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, Alessandra, go on.
Yeah. So my question is, well, thinking about your role as a strategic investor, I was wondering if you see or if you consider other aspects apart from the technology and maybe the business models in startups. And I'm thinking more like psychological or organizational aspects in startups. So yeah, the question is if you consider them and what exactly are these elements?
You mean as a strategic investor, you look also to organization and the people?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You look at the people who are in this organization, because a startup, what asset does the startup have in the beginning? Of course, they have the invention, the technology. But you also need these people. That's a good point, Alejandra. I forgot. You need the people behind, and also this mindset and this thinking. So yes, also look at the people is very, very important. Also, and have the right people on board, because the smaller the company is, the more better people you need. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think Oliver is in time. Sorry about the confusion, Oliver. Maybe it is the UK and EU time zone difference that got in at 2 p.m. in your calendar. But if you're okay, do you want to do the wrap up with mentioning about the Entrepreneurship Awards?
And yeah, thank you, Radhika. I just wanted to wrap up. So we are approaching ERF, of course, and during ERF we will have the yearly ERF Entrepreneurship Award, as organized by the Entrepreneurship topic group in euRobotics. So I would encourage everyone who is interested in the topic of entrepreneurship to look into that. Of course, the ERF requires physical attendance, but the topic group is open to everyone, all members of euRobotics, and it's certainly something to look into if you are interested in this topic. So yeah, so I would encourage to do that, and also stay updated on more Ask Me Anything webinars, which will also be organized in the future. And thank you to you, Radhika, for setting this up, and to you, Elisabeth, for presenting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Oliver. Thanks a lot, Elisabeth, for bringing in all your experience and answering all the questions today.
Thank you for having the chance here to talk. So I also was happy that I had that chance. Thanks.
That's great.
And I hope I'll see you in Odense.
Yeah, definitely. See you in Odense. And whoever is attending, looking forward to Odense and meeting you all. So there are 2 more speakers lined up for future AMA webinars. And I'm waiting for the dates to be confirmed. So please keep your eyes open for the comms, either in euRobotics LinkedIn or via the mailing list or the Eventbrite, all these 3 platforms. And if you know of any other networks that might benefit from attending these webinars, do drop a line to either me, Oliver, or Francesca, and we'll be happy to promote in those circles as well. So thank you. Thanks everyone for attending. Thanks, Elisabeth.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good day. Bye-bye.